6 EFF MPs. These include the party leader Julius Malema and his deputy Floyd Shivambu will not be attending next week's State of the Nation address.
But guys, I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. I am not happy about the fact that these people are not going to allow Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, Marshall Dlamini to the building, man. I am not happy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Because I have to be honest with myself, man. And as South Africans, we have to be honest with ourselves. There is nothing that South Africans are getting from long speeches of President Ramaphosa. There is nothing that South Africans have gotten from these long speeches of Ramaphosa. So if EFF and Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu are going to make it impossible for Ramaphosa to speak, I vote for it. I vote for it. Yeah, I know, I'm a hypocrite. I know that I always bash parliamentarians for going to parliament and acting like a bunch of children, but now I condone it. I condone it, man. You know what the EFF did last year, man? I was so happy when these people, man, harassed President Ramaphosa. I said, man, as much as I'm not the fan of the EFF, but anything to give Ramaphosa a hard time, I will vote for it. But right now, it looks like Ramaphosa and the courts said, man, we are going to conspire and making sure that these people, man, are not attending the State of the Nation because they are not going to listen to me. I have the worst 5 years as the president of this country. Do you think the EFF is going to sit there and listen to Ramaphosa and pretend like South Africa is making strides? Do you think the EFF is going to sit there and allow Ramaphosa to lie to the people of this country? No, they're not going to do that. So this is one of the reasons why I watch a State of the Nation. Man, I watch a State of the Nation for entertainment purposes. I'm not watching State of the Nation because I want to hear what the President Ramaphosa says. I'm sick and tired of listening to President Ramaphosa, lying to the people of this country. I'm sick and tired of President Ramaphosa, being on television, giving us the long speeches, and there's nothing, man, we are benefiting as the average citizens. So if the EFF is going to go to parliament and distract President Ramaphosa, I'm going to vote for it. I'm going to vote for it. So I am pissed off as an average South African that, man, these people, man, are trying to cut the EFF at the head. They're trying to cut the EFF at the head, man, because you know that if Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, and Dlamini, they are not going to be allowed into the building, man, chances are the EFF guys are not going to go to parliament. Or are they going to go to parliament? I don't know. I guess time will tell. But you know that the EFF guys, man, whenever Malema gets into trouble, or Shivambu gets into trouble, or whenever Malema is kicked out of parliament, all the guys, they go with Julius Malema. So I'm hoping this time the EFF guys, man, will actually go to parliament and make sure that Ramaphosa is had the roughest time he could ever had. Because as a South African, guys, at this point, I'm sick and tired of listening to Ramaphosa. I'm sick and tired of listening to Ramaphosa. The only thing that Ramaphosa knows is to greet South Africans in 11 official languages. When it comes to doing his job, man, he knows nothing. He knows nothing. I mean, South Africans today, man, who would have thought that we would have a worse president than Jacob Zuma? Ramaphosa, with his incompetency, man, he's putting Jacob Zuma to shame. Ramaphosa's incompetency, man, is putting Jacob Zuma to shame. So right now, man, I am ready to no longer have Ramaphosa as my president. So I don't think I want to listen to President Ramaphosa lie to the people of this country. I don't think I want to listen to President Ramaphosa lying on stage and telling South Africans and blackmailing South Africans into voting for the African National Congress. Because right now, I can tell you, Ramaphosa is going to campaign on that stage. Ramaphosa will not have time to talk about the issues that are really facing the country. Ramaphosa is going to campaign for the African National Congress. He is going to use the State of the Nation address the same way he used the January 8th statement. So I don't want to listen to that. So I'm really pissed off, man. I'm not going to lie.
This after their court bid to challenge their suspension was struck from the court's roll. Now, the EFF members were found to be in contempt after storming the stage at last year's Sona, disrupting the president's speech. Let's speak now to the EFF's spokesperson, who also doubles up as one of the MPs who are barred from attending this year's Sona. Sinawo Tambo, good morning to you and thank you for your time. Apart from being barred from attending this year's Sona, what other sanction do you know of that has been meted out against you?
Thanks, Colin. So some of the sanctions...
I mean, guys, can you imagine if the EFF would decide to protest the whole State of the Nation? Man, can you imagine if Julius Malema says, guys, the day President Ramaphosa does a rally, man, I am going to go out to Cape Town. I'm going to go somewhere near the parliament, and I'm calling all the supporters of the economic freedom fighters. When Ramaphosa gives speech, I'm going to be here giving a speech, man, making sure that no one hears President Ramaphosa, man, because I don't think the ANC can stop Julius Malema from calling his people to come somewhere. Man, the EFF needs to do something about President Ramaphosa. The EFF needs to do something about President Ramaphosa, man. If these people are really not going to allow Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, and Dlamini into the building, then Julius Malema must go somewhere near the parliament and call all the supporters of the EFF. Call all the supporters of the EFF, man. Do a rally. Do a rally, man. Do a rally, man. Protest the whole state of the nation. If they are not going to allow you in, protest the whole state of the nation. This time, I'm 100% behind the EFF. I'm 100% behind the EFF. I know. Some people will be like, no, Thomas, we want peace. We want the president. Man, I don't want Ramaphosa to do anything. I'm sick and tired, man. I am not going to listen to President Ramaphosa. If EFF is not going to do something that is going to draw me to watch a television, I am not going to watch a president speak. I'm not going to watch a president speak, man. Now I'm ready to vote out the African National Congress. I no longer want to hear anything that comes out of the mouth of President Ramaphosa. I don't want to hear anything. And I know I am not the only one. I know many people, man, who are not supporting the EFF. I know they are with me at this point. Man. Distract the whole state of the nation, man. Distract the whole state of the nation, man. I wish South Africans could actually protest Cyril Ramaphosa. I wish South Africans can actually protest the African National Congress and make it and make African National Congress understand that you guys have destroyed the country. You don't have the right to come into our neighborhoods. You don't have the right to come into the townships where we live and promise us things. You've been promising us things for the past 30 years. You have done nothing, man. Our children are sitting at home unemployed. Our children are drug addicts. Our children are drunkards. It is because of you guys. Crime is up in the country, man. Women, men are endangered. The children are endangered. There's a mess that is happening in the country, man. I wish South Africans could actually protest the whole African National Congress and its president. That's what I wish right now. And it looks like in Parliament that the EFF is the only party, man, that is willing to say, man, Ramaphosa, we are not going to listen to you. You are a criminal. We are not going to listen to you. There, I'm with the EFF. I don't want to lie.
Which have been imposed upon us by Parties and Powers and Privileges Committee, are that we are not allowed to participate in any parliamentary activity, be it at a committee level or Parliament itself, from the 1st to the 28th of February, if I'm not mistaken, for the month of February, which means that the democratic will of our people who chose to elect certain members of the EFF into Parliament who have now been suspended is forthrightly undermined. You'll be happy to know they'll also be docking our salaries for the month of February, I'm sure, as part of that. So it's almost a triple jeopardy. And what is most intentful and purposeful on their side is that they have ensured that they chose February in particular as a month in which to bar these members of the EFF from Parliament, because they know that this will be Cyril Ramaphosa's final state of the nation address before he's democratically removed as the president of South Africa. So they want it to be without scrutiny.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that Parliament has been turned into a weapon in defense of Ramaphosa.
Well, let's understand why you find yourselves here. During the disciplinary hearings in December, the Secretary of Parliament testified there, stating clearly that the disregard for the rules of the House is what has landed the EFF MPs to the position you find yourselves today. Have you reflected on what needs to change about your approach?
What are you asking the EFF, man? What are you asking the EFF, man? I can tell you now, the guy is going to tell you that, man, the EFF hasn't reflected on nothing. We were right to protest Cyril Ramaphosa. We were right not to allow this man to speak, man. We were right to protest Cyril Ramaphosa. This is what our people want. Our people are sick and tired of Ramaphosa, man. Just because you, the news, and us, the political pundits, are not happy about some of the conduct in the EFF, it doesn't mean that the constituency of the EFF hates it when the EFF does that. I mean, the constituency of the EFF is like, yes, do more. We want more. You know, last time you disrupted Ramaphosa, I mean, this time disrupted the whole state of the nation. This is what the EFF supporters want. So the EFF men, they don't have time to reflect on something they know or they believe that it was right. This time, the EFF believes they were right. The EFF believes they were right. I mean, guys, let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. Even if you don't like the EFF, man, let's be honest, man. Are you still willing to listen to President Ramaphosa? Are you willing to listen to President Ramaphosa? Me, at this point, I've had enough. Man. I'm going to support everyone that is going to make sure that Ramaphosa has a hard time. You know, whoever is going to make sure that Ramaphosa, man, never finds peace, that is the person that I'm going to support. I'm telling you. This is the person that I'm going to support. I no longer want to hear anything from Ramaphosa, man. I no longer want to hear anything from Ramaphosa. I know that they can say, like, yeah, law, in terms of the law, yeah, the EFF were wrong. I know that you guys jumped the stage. You guys put the president, at risk, all of those things. I know you want to say that, but honestly, anyone who's going to make sure that Ramaphosa, I mean, has a hard time, I'm going to support that. I no longer want to hear anything from the ANC, man. I no longer want to hear anything from the ANC. I think at this point, I'm okay with hearing from the ANC. Just imagine sitting back and listening to 1 hour of President Ramaphosa telling the people of this country, man, gaslighting the people of this country, telling them that the ANC has done a wonderful job. Just imagine listening to President Ramaphosa, because this is what he's going to do at the State of the Nation address. He's going to stand there and say, guys, the African National Congress has done a lot for the people of this country, man. Many people are saying that the ANC hasn't done anything for the people of the country. But we can tell you today, since 1994, the ANC has done a lot for the people of this country. You know, back then, he will start pulling out the statistics. Ramaphosa is going to campaign with the State of the Nation. He's going to campaign with the State of the Nation.
In Parliament.
Absolutely nothing. And the employee of the very institution that is now villainizing the EFF for holding Sir Ramaphosa accountable can't be viewed as a credible source as to what is correct and incorrect. He has to stand by his institution's sort of mandate to villainize the EFF members of Parliament. Our reflection is that,
you know, the EFF is that kind of a party that I'm willing to say, you guys can do whatever that you want to do. You know, when it comes to holding Ramaphosa accountable, man, I support you 100%. The EFF is the kind of a party that I would say, guys, I would support you 100% in terms of getting Ramaphosa out of the presidency. But when the EFF says, guys, we want to be the one in presidency, that's when my debate with the EFF is going to start. That is when my debate with the EFF is going to start and say, guys, let's have a conversation right now. We know that you guys hated Ramaphosa, but like, what makes you think that you are good enough to govern the country? That is where my debate with the EFF is going to start. But when it comes to these people, man, giving Ramaphosa a hard time, man, I'm behind them 100%. I know I'm not the only one. And I know South Africans are pissed off, man, when they think that Malema is not going to be allowed into the building. Many people watch a State of the Nation for entertainment purposes. We watch a State of the Nation to see what the EFF is going to do this time. So if they are not going to allow Malema, Shivambu, and Dlamini, why should South Africans watch a State of the Nation? There's nothing for us to watch. Man. Even if you are a reasonable person, you want to hear what the president is going to say. I mean, like, at this point, you've heard anything that Ramaphosa has to say. Ramaphosa, whatever that is going to tell you at State of the Nation, he's going to tell you nothing new. It's nothing new. Everything Ramaphosa has already said it before. So the only thing that is left for Ramaphosa to do is to campaign for the African National Congress. He's going to use the State of the Nation to campaign the same way he used the January 8th.
institutions sort of mandate to villainize the EFF members of Parliament. Our reflection is that we were correct to peacefully protest and holding Sir Ramaphosa accountable.
Sinawo, Tambo, Sinawo. Sinawo said the EFF was peacefully protesting. I bet.
Well, first and foremost for his crimes at and in relation to Phala Farm, but secondly for the complete collapse of South African society under his leadership, the increase in crime, the increase in unemployment, the high gender-based violence statistics, the collapse of state-owned entities and general infrastructure in South Africa, and the collapse of our economy. That is what we were raising there, and what we regard as the highest form or platform for protest, which is Parliament. Our people sent us there to hold the executive accountable, and that is exactly what we were doing. The mischaracterization of this peaceful protest, of these attempts to ensure Ramaphosa answers or speaks directly to his failures and his criminal activities, as storming the stage, as disruption, as breaching of the rules, is deliberate mischaracterization to avoid holding Ramaphosa accountable, which he rejected in its entirety.
When you say the protest by the EFF,
you know, one of the reasons why the EFF man has a lot of supporters, man. I can't believe I'm talking about this again, but here is it. The EFF, the reason why they have a lot of supporters, it is because these people, man, they are fighting on behalf of their people. You may sit there and say, yeah, I know, I criticize the EFF every time. I criticize the EFF every time about what they do. But one thing that I will never take away from the EFF is that these people are fighting for their people's behalf. We might have opinions on how the EFF is conducting itself, but its people are happy. Its people are happy. And this is something that other political parties are actually failing to do. This is what other political parties are failing to do. They are failing to punch on their people's behalf. They're failing to punch on their people's behalf. So I think going to parliament and to act all holy and to act all honorable, knowing that your constituency is hungry, knowing that the people that are causing the hunger for your constituency are sitting there gaslighting to you and lying to you and sitting there and being humble like a gentleman or a lady, man, it is not doing anything for your constituency. It is not doing anything for your constituency. So for some reason, man, the EFF guys, the reason why they have a lot of support, it is because they are punching on people's behalf. The same way with Patriotic Alliance. The same way with Patriotic Alliance, man. I cannot believe that going into 2024 election, most of these opposition parties, they haven't learned from the EFF and Patriotic Alliance. They haven't learned from the EFF and Patriotic Alliance. I mean, you need to punch on your people's behalf. Right now, Patriotic Alliance are running after immigrants. They are punching on behalf of the people who are sick and tired of illegal immigrants. Many political parties, man, we don't even know what they stand for. We don't even know what they stand for. I mean, like right now, Blade Nzimande was exposed. Blade Nzimande, NSFAS, they were exposed for the corruption they did there at NSFAS. But there is not a single political party that is saying, guys, all the students must come together. Let's push for Blade Nzimande to be fired. Blade Nzimande can cry all he wants and say that I am innocent, I am innocent, I am innocent. But if there's a political party that is saying many students, thousands of students, they did not receive their allowances last year, in the past 2 years, thousands of students did not find accommodation, and we are going to fight for that, the students are going to feel that this party is fighting on our behalf. So many political parties are not fighting on people's behalf. I don't know what these people are doing in parliament. I don't know what these people are doing in parliament, man. You need to learn the game from the people that are doing it. If a political party is growing, you need to understand why that political party is growing. You can never raise a political party, or you can never grow a political party in South Africa by being conservative. You will never do that. You will never do that. There are many problems that are facing the country today. You just need to pick one issue and fight on people's behalf. You just have to pick one issue and fight on people's behalf. If you're going to stand there and promise us all heaven and earth, no one is going to believe you. No one is going to believe you. So I hope political parties, man, even if you don't like the EFF, it doesn't mean that you cannot learn from them. You need to learn from people that you don't like. You need to learn from the parties that you don't like. Don't think that you know anything. Don't assume that you know everything. Don't assume that.
EFF in Parliament are peaceful. Some people will have a problem with that, and it is primarily on exactly what happened in February of 2023, because some EFF MPs did indeed attempt to storm the stage, and so that was seen as a direct threat to the safety of the president. And I remember,
it is a direct threat to the president. To the president. It is a direct threat.
As a direct threat to the safety of the president. And
I mean, like, if it is a direct threat to the safety of the president, I mean, what about the direct threats that the people of this country are facing each and every day? It is a direct threat. It is a direct threat to the safety of the president. It's not like the EFF guys, we're going to jump the stage and start hitting Ramaphosa with the ones and twos. It's not like that we're going to do that. So what are you talking about if you say it is a direct threat to the safety of the president? Before these people, man, talk about these issues, do they even sit down and think that, man, before we say these people pose the direct threat to the people, to the presidency, man, how about the average South Africans? How about the average South Africans? If Ramaphosa, man, felt threatened by the EFF guys standing up and protesting him, how does he think South Africans are surviving, man, with the criminals they are facing each and every day? If you are scared to face Julius Malema, stand head on. If you are scared of the political party, man, what do you think the average South Africans are feeling when they are facing criminals each and every day? So Ramaphosa's safety matters. Ramaphosa's safety matters. Other people's safety doesn't matter. Ramaphosa's safety matters. Your safety doesn't matter, but his safety matters.
I remember the complaints about members of the security forces being allowed inside the chamber, and some of the MPs saying that that should never have been allowed. But surely that conduct from your end is something that you should regret, no?
Absolutely not. I think it's illogical for anyone to suggest that Sir Ramaphosa was under threat when we sit next to him almost at all State of the Nation's addresses. We sit alongside him. If you watch those videos closely, he was even smiling and grinning because he knows very well that no one was going to pose any threat to his life.
Yeah, but he's telling the truth, man. It's not like Ramaphosa, these people, man, were going to, they really wanted to kill you in front of everyone else, man. Everything is on television. It's not like these people, man, wanted to kill you in front of everyone else. So if Ramaphosa, man, cannot even face the EFF, he doesn't care about the criminals that the South Africans are facing each and every day. He doesn't care about the criminals that South Africans are facing each and every day. It is despicable, man.
The EFF members of parliament had placards. They approached the stage, not stormed, because this misuse of language is what mischaracterizes the situation. Approached the podium and the stage holding placards up. And the first and biggest sign of someone who comes in peace is a person who comes with their hand raised. So there was no threat to Sir Ramaphosa. The only violation of the Parliament of South Africa on that day was the allowing of security forces who are armed into the Parliament of South Africa, where we are all unarmed, where we are all having peaceful debate and interactions as democratically elected leaders. The risk of security to members of Parliament when unidentifiable individuals came into Parliament with guns is something that must be condemned in the strongest terms. But Ramaphosa, where he is now, which is why in one of our submissions to that Powers and Privileges Committee was that Ramaphosa himself must come and testify as to whether he felt under threat, so that...
I mean, why are you cutting him off, man? Don't come and lie.
Well, that video link interrupted.
Video link interrupted. Just as he was speaking about those guys who stormed into Parliament with the guns, and the video link just decided to cut. Me, guys, like I said, I'm going to support anyone, man, who's going to fight against Ramaphosa and the ANC. If you are going to fight against Ramaphosa and the ANC, I'm going to stand with you. The only problem that I'm going to have with you is when you say that you want to be the president. Now we're going to have problems. Now we're going to have, now I'm going to start criticizing you. I'm going to start hammering on you hard. But if you say that you want Ramaphosa out, then we are going to support you. We are going to support you, man. You remember how the DA and the EFF were like this when they got rid of Jacob Zuma? They were like this. They were like, man, as much as we don't like each other, we need to get rid of Jacob Zuma. We need to get rid of Jacob Zuma. And this is what I think other political parties should do, man. I think all the political parties in South Africa, man, they should come together and say, guys, we only have one common enemy, man. And this enemy is the African National Congress. There's no need for us to be, there's no need for us to be separate, man. Let's take on the African National Congress. Let's all of us come together and say that we are going to take out the African National Congress. And once we've kicked out the ANC, we can fight. Once we kicked out the ANC, we can fight. And this is why I support the EFF right now when it comes to actually pushing for Ramaphosa to be exited as the president of the country, man. This one, I support them. The same way I support them with the DA when they kicked out Jacob Zuma. This time, I'm just hoping that the DA can actually stand up, man. I'm hoping that the DA can stand up. I can see that even right now, John Steenhuisen is starting to go out, starting to speak with the media, starting to engage with the people, man. And that is good. That is good, man. This election, man, no one can afford to sit down and do nothing. No one can afford to sit down and do nothing, man. In my own opinion, man, this is one election that is actually going to determine the future of this country. This is one election that South Africans, man, cannot afford to miss. If South Africans are not going to take this election, man, as serious as it is, we are going to regret this, man, for the rest of our lives. I mean, I think this is at one time where South Africans need to be like, guys, it's fine, man. We've had enough. We've had enough. It's fine. We've had enough, man. Let's vote for some change, man. Let's fight with that change when it gets here. But this one that we're having, no, we've had enough. That's why I'm saying all the political parties should pull together and say, guys, let's get rid of this monster that is called the ANC. And after that, we can fight. After that, we can fight. It's open season, man. Anyone can contest to be the president. Any political party can actually contest. to be the governing party in this country. We can fight. The fight is open as long as we get rid of the African National Congress, man. And this is what I was hoping. This is what I was hoping. Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.